God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because this moment is not ordinary, and the reason you are here right now is not random." Before your mind tries to understand, before doubt has a chance to speak, allow your heart to be still for just a few seconds. Something gentle, something sacred, something deeply personal is being released toward you in this very moment, and heaven wants you to receive it without fear, without rushing, without questioning whether you deserve it or not. Archangel Michael is standing in the presence of God right now, not with a sword raised for battle, but with his hands open, carrying a message meant only for you. This is not a message of pressure, and it is not meant to frighten you. It is a message of recognition. Heaven has noticed the weight you have been carrying quietly. Heaven has seen the strength you showed when no one applauded you. Heaven has counted the nights when your heart felt heavy, yet you still chose to move forward. Take a slow breath, because what you are hearing is not meant to rush past your spirit. God wants you to feel this, not just listen to it. There are moments when heaven speaks loudly, and there are moments like this, when heaven speaks softly, because the message is tender. This is one of those moments. You were not brought here by accident. You were guided here because your soul was ready to remember something important. Archangel Michael says that God has been watching you walk through seasons that demanded more from you than you ever expected. You smiled when you were tired. You stayed silent when you could have complained. You kept believing, even when answers felt delayed. And even in moments when your faith felt quiet, heaven never misunderstood you. Silence was not disbelief. Waiting was not weakness. It was trust forming in a deeper way. There is a reason your heart feels stirred right now. God is reminding you that you are not unseen, and you are not walking alone. What felt like delay was not denial. What felt like distance was not abandonment. Heaven has been working gently behind the scenes, arranging, protecting, softening what needed to be softened, and removing what could not come with you into the next season of your life. This message may move your heart because it is meant to heal a place inside you that words from people could never reach. God knows there are questions you never asked out loud. There are thoughts you kept hidden because you didn't want to burden anyone else. There are hopes you protected quietly because you were afraid they might break if spoken too soon. Heaven knows all of this, and still, God says your heart is safe in His hands. Archangel Michael speaks with calm assurance and says that something within you has been shifting already. You may not be able to name it clearly, but you've felt it. A soft release. A gentle readiness. A sense that you cannot remain the same forever. That feeling is not confusion. It is preparation. God does not rush transformation, but He is always precise with timing. You are entering a season where clarity will replace heaviness. Where peace will begin to settle more naturally in your decisions. Where you will stop forcing what no longer aligns with your heart. This does not mean everything will suddenly become perfect. It means you will become steadier. It means you will begin to trust yourself again. It means you will recognize which doors deserve your energy and which ones you are finally allowed to close without guilt. God wants you to know that your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your depth is not a burden. Your emotions are not something you need to apologize for. They are part of how you were designed to love deeply, to understand others, and to connect in ways that are real. Archangel Michael says heaven is proud of the way you've protected your heart without letting it harden. If you have been feeling tired lately, not just physically, but emotionally, this message is a pause created just for you. A reminder that you do not have to carry everything at once. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to rest without feeling like you are falling behind. God is not measuring your worth by speed. He is looking at your heart. What you are stepping into next will feel calmer, even if it is unfamiliar. You will begin to sense when something is right without needing external validation. You will begin to let go of the need to explain yourself to people who were never meant to understand your journey. This is growth, and heaven honors it. Archangel Michael says that the love surrounding you is stronger than you realize. Even when you felt alone, protection was present. Even when you doubted your direction, guidance was near. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your soul needs to be to receive what comes next. Stay with this feeling for a moment. Let it settle. Let it soften you instead of making you anxious. God's voice does not rush. It reassures. And right now, heaven is reassuring you that your heart is seen, your journey is respected, and your future is not empty. Before this message ends, receive this gently. You are allowed to hope again without fear. You are allowed to trust again without overthinking. You are allowed to believe that good things can come quietly, without chaos, without proving anything to anyone. And if this message touched something real inside you, don't let it pass silently. Take a moment at the end of this video to like it so the message reaches others who need peace too. Comment what you felt while listening, even if it's just one word. Share this with someone whose heart could use reassurance today. And subscribe so you don't miss the next message meant to guide you gently forward. Heaven speaks softly, but it speaks on purpose. God says, "Stay with me a little longer, because what is unfolding now goes deeper than comfort and reaches into understanding." This message is not meant to pass over you quickly. It is meant to settle, to unfold slowly inside you, the way light fills a room at dawn without noise, without force, without asking permission. You are still here because your spirit knows there is more being revealed, and heaven is gentle enough to reveal it in layers. Archangel Michael speaks again, not loudly, not urgently, but with the calm authority of truth. He says that God has been watching how you carry your life when no one else sees it. Not the version of you that smiles in public, but the real version of you that sits quietly with thoughts at night. The version that wonders if the effort is worth it. The version that questions whether anyone truly understands the depth of what you feel. Heaven understands that version of you completely. There are seasons where God allows silence, not as distance, but as training. Silence teaches you to listen inwardly. Silence teaches discernment. Silence teaches you the difference between noise and truth. You have been in such a season, whether you realized it or not. And while it may have felt uncomfortable, it was shaping your ability to hear God more clearly than ever before. God wants you to know that you are not being asked to become someone else. You are being invited to become more fully who you already are. There is nothing missing in you that needs to be fixed. There are only parts of you that need permission to breathe again. Permission to soften. Permission to trust without fear of being disappointed. Permission to move forward without carrying the weight of every past moment. Archangel Michael says that heaven has seen how often you chose peace when you could have chosen reaction. How often you chose patience when you could have walked away bitter. How often you held back words that might have hurt others, even when you yourself were hurting. These choices were not invisible. They shaped your spirit. They prepared you for what comes next. What comes next is not chaos. It is not confusion. It is clarity arriving quietly. You will begin to notice that things which once drained you no longer have the same power. Conversations that once unsettled you will lose their grip. Situations that once made you doubt yourself will no longer feel as heavy. This is not because the world changed overnight, but because you did. God says that growth often looks like peace replacing urgency. It looks like confidence replacing explanation. It looks like rest replacing overthinking. And you are stepping into that kind of growth now. You may feel moments of unfamiliar calm, and your mind may try to question it. Do not resist it. This calm is not emptiness. It is alignment. Archangel Michael reminds you that protection does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes protection looks like redirection. Sometimes it looks like delays that saved you from situations you were not meant to enter. Sometimes it looks like people leaving your life quietly, making space for healthier connections later. Heaven never removes without purpose. Every ending you experienced was clearing room for something more suitable to who you are becoming. God knows that you care deeply. You think deeply. You feel deeply. And while that depth has sometimes felt like a burden, heaven sees it as a gift. A gift that allows you to connect authentically. A gift that allows you to sense truth beyond words. A gift that allows you to love without conditions. This gift does not need to be hardened to survive. It needs to be guided. In this season, guidance will come in subtle ways. Through moments of sudden understanding. Through inner nudges that feel calm rather than anxious. Through decisions that feel right without needing external approval. Trust these moments. They are not imagination. They are communication. God says you do not need to rush toward the future. The future is already moving toward you at the right pace. Your role right now is to remain open. Open to learning. Open to receiving. Open to letting go of what no longer fits your spirit. This openness is what allows blessings to arrive gently rather than forcefully. Archangel Michael speaks of balance. Balance between giving and resting. Between caring for others and honoring your own limits. Between listening and speaking when necessary. You are learning this balance now, even if it feels unfamiliar. Balance does not mean detachment. It means sustainability. It means you can continue without losing yourself along the way. God wants you to release the idea that you must struggle to be worthy. Worthiness is not proven through exhaustion. It is recognized through presence. You are worthy because you exist. You are valued because you are known. You are supported because you are loved. Nothing more needs to be earned. As you continue listening, notice how your breathing naturally slows. Notice how your thoughts become less scattered. This is your spirit responding to truth. Truth does not overwhelm. It steadies. And heaven is steadying you for the next chapter of your life. This chapter will ask you to trust what feels peaceful rather than what feels familiar. Familiarity often keeps us tied to old patterns. Peace invites us forward. When choices arise, you will notice that the right ones feel calm, even if they are new. Follow that calm. Archangel Michael says that God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be honest with yourself. Honest about what you need. Honest about what you can give. Honest about what you are ready to release. This honesty is what opens the door to deeper fulfillment. Remain here in this awareness. Let the message continue to unfold inside you. There is still more being revealed, and heaven is not finished speaking. God says, remain here with me, because what is being revealed now is not information for your mind but reassurance for your heart. This is the layer of the message meant to settle your doubts, the ones you rarely speak out loud, the ones that surface only when the world goes quiet. Heaven knows those thoughts. Heaven is not offended by them. Heaven is answering them gently, one by one. Archangel Michael stands in calm strength and speaks of timing. He says that many things in your life felt delayed not because you were forgotten, but because you were being aligned. Alignment takes time because it adjusts not only circumstances but also understanding. You were learning discernment even when you thought nothing was happening. You were gaining clarity even when the path looked unclear. God says that your heart has carried questions about whether your efforts truly mattered. Whether the quiet good you did made any difference. Whether choosing integrity over convenience was worth it. Heaven answers clearly, it mattered more than you know. The unseen is where the deepest foundations are built. And your foundation is strong. There is a difference between being alone and being set apart. You have felt moments of separation, not as punishment, but as preparation. In those moments, your inner voice grew stronger. Your dependence on external validation softened. Your ability to sit with yourself without fear began to develop. These were not empty seasons. They were formative ones. God wants you to understand that not every connection is meant to last forever. Some arrive to teach you what you value. Some arrive to show you what you deserve. Some arrive simply to remind you of who you are not meant to become. Releasing these connections does not mean failure. It means growth has completed its work. Archangel Michael says that protection often looks like distance from what once felt familiar. You may have noticed that certain environments no longer resonate with you. Certain conversations feel shallow. Certain cycles feel exhausting. This is not arrogance. It is awareness. Your spirit is seeking depth because it has matured. God says that your sensitivity is not weakness. It is perception. You notice shifts before others do. You sense truth beneath words. You feel atmosphere, intention, and energy even when nothing is spoken. This is why rest is important for you. This is why peace is not optional. Your spirit processes more than most, and heaven honors that by guiding you toward gentler rhythms. There is reassurance being given now about the future. Not in details, but in direction. You do not need to see the entire path to trust the next step. God rarely reveals everything at once because clarity grows with movement. As you take each step with honesty and humility, the next will become visible at the right time. Archangel Michael speaks of stability. He says that what is coming into your life will not require you to lose yourself. It will not demand constant effort to maintain. It will not feel like walking on fragile ground. It will feel steady, mutual, balanced. This applies to opportunities, relationships, and inner peace. God wants you to release the habit of bracing for disappointment. That habit formed when hope was interrupted too many times. It was understandable then, but it is no longer necessary now. You are allowed to expect goodness without fear. Expectation does not invite loss when it is grounded in trust rather than control. There is healing happening in how you relate to yourself. You are learning to speak inwardly with kindness instead of criticism. To pause instead of pushing. To listen instead of rushing to conclusions. This shift will change how others interact with you as well. People often respond to the way we treat ourselves more than to the words we say. God says that you are entering a season where clarity replaces confusion, not through dramatic signs, but through consistent peace. You will simply know what feels right. Decisions will feel lighter. Boundaries will feel natural instead of forced. Silence will feel comforting instead of empty. Archangel Michael reminds you that strength does not always announce itself. Sometimes it is quiet endurance. Sometimes it is choosing not to react. Sometimes it is allowing yourself to rest without guilt. You have practiced this strength without realizing it, and it has shaped you into someone capable of carrying greater responsibility with grace. There is also a gentle correction being offered. God says you do not need to carry everyone else's weight to be loving. Compassion does not require self-neglect. Care does not require exhaustion. You are allowed to step back when your spirit needs renewal. This does not make you less kind. It makes you sustainable. As this message continues, notice how your inner resistance softens. That is not persuasion. That is recognition. Truth feels familiar to the soul even when it challenges old habits. Let that familiarity guide you. God says that you are not behind in life. Comparison distorted your sense of timing. Everyone's path unfolds differently because everyone's purpose is different. Yours requires depth, discernment, and authenticity. These qualities cannot be rushed. Archangel Michael says that what lies ahead will meet you where you are, not where you pretend to be. You do not need to become louder, harder, or less sensitive to receive what is meant for you. You only need to remain honest and open. Stay present with this message. The unfolding is intentional. What remains will bring integration, direction, and finally, action guided by peace rather than pressure. Heaven is still speaking, and you are still listening. God says, "Stay with me just a little longer, because this is the closing of the message, and closings are sacred. What you have heard until now was meant to prepare your heart. What you will hear now is meant to anchor it. This is not about excitement. This is about alignment. This is where understanding settles into certainty, and certainty turns into quiet confidence." Archangel Michael stands not as a warrior now, but as a guardian of truth. He speaks gently, reminding you that life does not change all at once, but it does change decisively when inner resistance ends. Something inside you has already shifted while listening. You may not be able to name it, but you can feel it. That feeling is peace returning to its rightful place. God says you no longer need to replay old moments to understand what went wrong. Wisdom has already been extracted from those experiences. Repetition will not bring clarity anymore. Presence will. Your future does not require you to fully explain your past. It only requires you to walk forward without dragging unnecessary weight. There is reassurance now about your value. Not the kind that depends on achievement, approval, or recognition, but the kind that exists because you exist. You were not created to constantly prove your worth. You were created to express it through how you live, how you treat others, and how you treat yourself when no one is watching. Archangel Michael says that strength is already within you, but it will no longer express itself as endurance alone. It will now express itself as discernment. You will know when to step in and when to step back. You will know when to speak and when silence carries more power. This balance is maturity, not hesitation. God speaks about trust. Not blind trust, but grounded trust. The kind that allows you to move forward without anxiety because you are no longer trying to control outcomes. You are learning that control creates tension, while trust creates flow. This shift will make your decisions clearer and your relationships healthier. There is also a message about connection. God says the people who will walk with you next will not require you to explain your boundaries repeatedly. They will understand them instinctively. Mutual respect will replace emotional negotiation. Peace will replace uncertainty. You will feel seen without having to perform. Archangel Michael reminds you that not everything meaningful arrives loudly. Some of the most important changes enter quietly and grow steadily. Pay attention to what feels calm rather than what feels intense. Calm is where truth usually resides. God says that your intuition has matured. You no longer need constant confirmation from others. You will notice that answers arrive internally before they appear externally. This is not isolation. It is inner authority developing. There is also forgiveness unfolding here, not necessarily for others, but for yourself. Forgiveness for staying too long, for leaving too late, for trusting too deeply, for doubting yourself when you should not have. God says, release self-blame now. It has served its lesson. It does not need to follow you further. Archangel Michael speaks of the next season as one of steadiness. Not constant highs, not emotional extremes, but sustainable growth. Your nervous system will feel safer. Your thoughts will feel clearer. Your decisions will feel less reactive and more intentional. This is healing in motion. God wants you to remember this. You are allowed to choose a life that feels peaceful, even if it looks different from what others expect. Fulfillment does not have one shape. Your shape is unique, and it is valid. As this message reaches its end, notice how your breathing feels. Notice the quiet sense of grounding. This is not coincidence. This is your spirit recognizing alignment. Nothing is being forced. Nothing is being rushed. Archangel Michael says that what comes next will unfold naturally because resistance has softened. You will not have to chase clarity. It will meet you. You will not have to beg for understanding. It will come through lived experience. God says this message found you because you were ready to hear it, not because you were lacking something, but because you were prepared to integrate something new. Integration is where change becomes real. Now, before you leave, this is important. If this message resonated with you, if you felt calm, clarity, or understanding even for a moment, pause and acknowledge it. Like this message so it can reach others who need this same peace. Comment what you felt or learned, even one word is enough. Share this with someone who may be carrying quiet questions in their heart. And subscribe so you stay connected to messages that guide, ground, and strengthen you over time. This is not about numbers. This is about continuity. Stay connected. Stay aware. And remember, clarity grows when you choose to listen.